guys, it's Rachel here, and a couple of things before I start. If you hear some kind of background chomping noise, it's my dog. She's decided that she wants to chew on her bone in my room. That's a thing. Whatever. Second of all, this is the second time I have filmed this video. Now, usually the way I do my formatting for my videos is I think of everything I want to say, I put it all together, I do one shot or do one take, I edit it all, and then I upload it typically within the same week. But in this case, I got a new version of Adobe Premiere Pro, and because of that, I was not aware that you had to change the sound of every clip that you use, like every audio clip when you put in music. And so my last video, I put up a video of my favorite audiobooks or some audiobook recommendations, and at about the 2-minute mark, a very loud music came up, and fortunately for me, a subscriber told me that they had to stop watching at a certain point because it was too loud. So this is my second take at this video. So like I mentioned, today I'm going to be refilming for you guys 4 of my favorite audiobooks. Originally it was 5, but I decided to go ahead and put it at 4 because 2 of the audiobooks I chose in my last one were by the same author, so there you go. Now for me, audiobooks, when it comes to audiobooks, it's very, very important that the narrator really match the story. I listened to Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard, and I did not like the book because I did not like the narrator. I thought that the narrator was really misplaced for the story. I felt for some reason that even though this is a dystopian, I felt that she needed to have some kind of like Victorian type accent, some kind of like a British accent, and she didn't, and it kind of bugged me. And almost to the credit of the narrator, I did not like Mare as a character, and I felt that the narrator gave Mare the most annoying voice that I think fit perfectly for Mare because I didn't like the book, but I just didn't like the narrator for the book, and because of that, I get really weary when I listen to audiobooks. So today I'm going to share with you guys 4 audiobooks that I really, really loved. Number 1, I loved The Girl with All the Gifts by M.R. Carey. This is one of the first audiobooks that I listened to in a long time. This was one of the first fiction audiobooks. I had been mainly listening to nonfiction audiobooks, and this was the first fiction because it was on Scribd, I believe. Did I listen to it on Scribd? I may have listened to it on Audible, but I listened to this one, and the narrator was so perfect for this audiobook, you guys. If you guys don't know what The Girl with All the Gifts about, it's a sci-fi futuristic kind of dystopian-ish. It's kind of hard to explain because I don't want to give too much away because I really feel like you should know little going into the book. But pretty much this follows the story of a young girl named Melanie, and Melanie is a very special girl. Every day armed guards come and pick her up from class, and they strap her into a chair, and she jokes around that she's not going to bite them, but nobody else laughs. This audiobook went so well with the story because the narrator gave every single character in the book their own voice. You could easily differentiate between different characters. There's about 5 main characters in the story. You could easily differentiate between who she was talking about at the time, and it was so great. If you guys want a really suspenseful, really badass audiobook, I highly, highly recommend The Girl with All the Gifts by M.R. Carey. Number 2, I have The Ocean at the End of Elaine by Neil Gaiman. If you're gonna ingest some type of Neil Gaiman, most people are going to suggest to you to listen to them because Neil Gaiman himself narrates them. Now, I think it's so awesome when the authors of the book narrate their own stories, because I really feel that because the author is reading it, you're getting a much better experience from the book. Because if you think about it, the author wrote the book, so the author has all of the sounds, all of the visuals, he has everything in his head or her head that they wrote for the story, and they can translate that so well into an audiobook. So I listened to The Ocean at the End of Elaine by Neil Gaiman. It was fantastic. If you don't know what The Ocean at the End of Elaine is about, it pretty much follows a man who at the beginning of our story, he is coming back from a funeral, and he stops by his childhood home and kind of gets to the end of the lane where he reminisces on his childhood. It is so atmospheric, it is so fairy-like or fairy tale-like. It is so good, and Neil Gaiman does a fantastic job narrating this story. I loved how he did Ursula. I love how he did Letty. I loved this audiobook so much, and I highly recommend that if you want to start with Neil Gaiman, that you start with The Ocean at the End of Elaine, especially in audiobook format. Number 3 I have is going to be Yes Please by Amy Poehler, and I feel like a lot of people when it comes to audiobooks are gonna recommend Amy Poehler's Yes Please, and also because I believe it won an audio award, or it's like one of the best, it won awards for being one of the best audiobooks of the year. It was so good. This is pretty much, Yes Please is pretty much Amy Poehler's like story. She's talking about her marriage, her life, her work, Parks and Rec, and she also brings in other people to talk like Adam Scott, and it's so great. It's so great. This was the first audiobook I listened to for the year, and it was so fantastic. Amy Poehler is hilarious, and when she talks about her marriage life, like, you feel for her. When she talks about sex, you laugh out loud. When she talks about Parks and Recreation, you're just like, oh my god, I want Parks and Recreation to never end, because that show is like the bomb. I loved Yes Please. Amy Poehler is just so awesome, and I highly recommend that you listen to the audiobook as opposed to reading the book, or maybe read them together. But I really feel like you're gonna get the best experience listening to Yes Please as opposed to just reading it, because you're gonna get her voice inflections in it, and it is so great. And number 4 I have Why Not Me, or Is Everybody Hanging Out Without Me and Other Concerns by Mindy Kaling. Now, I listened to both of these. I listened to Yes Please, I listened to Why Not Me more recently, and I enjoyed both of them quite a bit. They're both narrated by Mindy Kaling. These are both written by Mindy Kaling, and she's pretty much talking to us about her life, her work with The Office, how she came to her job. She also talks about, and Why Not Me, she talks about a lot about relationships. She talks a lot about BJ Novak. She talks about a guy that she had dated from the White House. She talks about a whole bunch of different things like that, and I really enjoyed these audiobooks. I think Mindy Kaling is hilarious, and I think that, like, again, if you're going to read Why Not Me or Is Everybody Hanging Out Without Me, I really suggest that you listen to them while reading them, because I think you're going to get the most experience out of it, especially when Mindy Kaling is talking about her time at Cornell. It is so great. I really loved those 2 audiobooks. They were awesome. Some other audiobooks that you guys might be interested in are going to be ones like Bossy Pants by Tina Fey. I liked Bossy Pants. It's not my favorite audiobook ever. To be honest with you guys, I mostly listened to Bossy Pants while I was playing World of Warcraft, so that could have been that. But I did enjoy that, and I feel that other people, if you liked Yes Please, or if you liked Is Everybody Hanging Out Without Me, you will like Bossy Pants. It is really good. And I also really enjoyed the audiobook for Falling Kingdoms by Morgan Rhodes. Now, it wasn't my favorite audiobook ever, but I really enjoyed listening to it with the story. I thought that the narrator gave each character a really interesting tone, personality, and I think it felt well with the story. However, I will be continuing to read the series just by reading it, not necessarily listening to it. Some ones that I didn't really enjoy are going to be the ones, like I said, Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard, I did not really enjoy. And I also really did not like Bedwetter by Sarah Silverman. I ended up DNFing that one because I just thought it was so terrible. I don't want to hear about you pissing the pants, and I don't want to hear about your sex life 24/7, so there's that. Anyways, if you guys have any recommendations for me as far as audiobooks goes, I would really appreciate it. I have some really good videos coming up here pretty soon. I have one haul coming up, but the rest of the videos are going to be like my favorite female characters. I got a fantastic idea for that from another booktuber, and I'm also going to have another shout out video coming out pretty soon. And I'm going to be, of course, doing my best of the year, my most disappointing of the year. And so I'm really looking forward to the end of the year videos. Those are my favorite videos of the year. But anyways, if you guys have any questions, comments, go ahead and let me know down below. And other than that, thanks so much for commenting, liking, and subscribing. And I will talk to you guys in my next video. Bye.